Jesus Return Chapter 12 The Last Challenge and Glad Tidings The Great Victory The capital of the Caliphate in the Messiah's reign The capital of the Caliphate during the reign of Al-Mahdi Muhammad ibn Abdullah and Isa, son of Maryam will be in Jerusalem. The Prophet said, "Prophethood will last among you for as long as Allah wills, then Allah will take it away. Then it will be followed by a Khilafah Rashida, rightly guided, on the pattern of the prophethood. It will remain for as long as Allah wills, then Allah will take it away. Afterwards there will be a hereditary leadership which will remain for as long as Allah wills, then He will lift it if He wishes. Afterwards, there will be biting oppression, and it will last for as long as Allah wishes, then He will lift it if He wishes. Then there will be a Khilafah Rashida according to the ways of the prophethood." Then he kept silent. Musnad Imam Ahmad, narrated Abdullah ibn Hawala al-Azdi. "The Messenger of Allah placed his hand on my head and said, Ibn Hawala, when you see the Caliphate has settled in the Holy Land, earthquakes, sorrows and serious matters will have drawn near, and on that day the last hour will be nearer to mankind than this hand of mine is to your head." Musnad Imam Ahmad, the Prophet, said, "The flourishing state of Jerusalem will be when Yathrib is in ruins, the ruined state of Yathrib will be when the Great War comes, the outbreak of the Great War will be at the conquest of Constantinople, and the conquest of Constantinople when the Dajjal Antichrist comes forth." He, the Prophet, struck his thigh or his shoulder with his hand and said, "This is as true as you are here or as you are sitting," meaning Mu'a ibn Jabal. Sunan Abu Dawud. What are the most important signs before the descent of the Messiah Isa, son of Maryam? The answer, it seems to me as to every observer these days, that the coming years are full of events in Iraq, Iran and the Arabian Peninsula. The signs began with an unbridled Iranian desire to occupy the land of the two holy mosques and its environs, the heart of the world and the source of religions, including Mecca, al-Qura and the Muslim tribe. Its facts confirm the idea of the so-called export of the Iranian Revolution, and the Iran-Iraq War, and then the open war today on the Sunnis in Iraq and Syria and Yemen with the provocation of Shiite minorities, militarization, military, and paramilitary rallies that provoke sectarian rifts and historical scorns demanding for revenge and retribution with varying degrees, but they agreed that the expected Mahdi will soon leave Selar, where he has been hiding for hundreds of years in Samarra, Iraq. It is time that if he appears they will follow him and supports him, so he will avenge them from their present and historical enemies and raise the alleged banner of, O Hussein, and recover the right of Hussein and Ali, may Allah be pleased with them, in the usurped imamate as for their faith. Who is this expected Mahdi for the Shiites? Why did Mahdi of Shiites differ from Mahdi of Sunnah? What if Mahdi of Sunnah appears first? Is there any similarity between the texts of the Shiites and the Antichrist? Answer: Isa, son of Maryam, will not descend by God's will until great signs and minor events occur. The major signs that we will deal with in this research, which are not differentiated by the Sunni branch of Islam, are the appearance of Mahdi Muhammad ibn Abdullah, who was counted by some scholars as the signs of the great hour. He would appear in Mecca at the Kaaba. The appearance of the Antichrist, Dajjal, between the Levant and Iraq. The events that precede the Messiah are many and different in their order. For example, many earthquakes and diseases, the great number of murder and fighting, the gathering of Jews from the diaspora, the building of the temple, the conquest of Jerusalem, the Levant and others. In general, we will not discuss these minor signs in our research, but we say, with Allah's will, who has the power before and after, that the countdown to the descent of Messiah Isa, son of Maryam, begins when the following prophecy is fulfilled. Abu Huraira reported Allah's Messenger as saying, Iraq would withhold its dirhams and kafas, Syria would withhold its mud and dinar, and Egypt would withhold its urdab and dinar, and you would recoil to that position from where you started, and you would recoil to that position from where you started, and you would recoil to that position from where you started. The flesh and blood of Abu Huraira would bear testimony to it. Dear brother and dear sister, notice that the word Iraq would withhold, the Levant would withhold, Egypt would withhold, is what is happening today for real, which has never been before, as these three countries withhold their zakat collectively, and their systems and governors denied the principles of the Islamic State and its main pillar, which is zakat. For the first time in history, they became a war against the Muslim state itself. Thus, the Islamic Ummah has been diminished in format and content to its worst form today, before it would be soon rectified by the mercy of Allah to go back and start from when it began pure and clear on the path of Caliphate by the Mahdi Muhammad bin Abdullah and then Messiah, with many men and women who sacrificed their lives, their blood, and money in order to uphold the truth and uphold the banner of Islam. Conclusion. I received from our friend, Lash, a final question on this subject. The question was, when will these victories that you promise and salvation from these endless seditions happen? I said, my brother, Lash, sedition is unavoidable as long as the son of Adam is living on earth, because the existence of a human being will inevitably be exposed to diseases, pests, needs, weakness, strength, joy, sadness, wars, and others. All of them are sedition and tribulations. Even if their time comes and the man stands before his Creator, he will be either a happy winner, for what he has done of good work, then he enters the paradise, or disappointed penitent, for what he has done of sins, and then regrets will serve no purpose. As for your question, when is the victory? The answer is, we Muslims today, whether individuals or groups or a nation. As for individuals, they must persevere in doing good deeds and leave evil things wherever they are. Whoever is imprisoned, he is in isolation, and whoever has been killed, he has got the martyrdom, which is our highest wish, and victory is only from God. As for groups, associations, and parties, they are in good, and victory is inevitable as long as they are on the right path aligned by the Prophet, does well and expels corruption and pushes it away as much as possible. The nation will return, with Allah's willing, as it began under the reign of Muhammad bin Abdullah, with hardships and seditions until it became stronger. Its flag rose and spread its authority over the whole Arabian Peninsula and around it in a short time. All parties and groups of good and righteousness people will be united by the Mahdi Muhammad ibn Abdullah, nominated by the Prophet and one of his descendants, to officially announce its mission from Mecca at the Holy Kaaba by great allegiance to the Mahdi Muhammad ibn Abdullah, who has the broadest forehead and the prominent nose. Then he will unite the Islamic groups, parties and peoples under one flag, arranging the internal ranks, and expel the Shiites from the Levant, and then open Jerusalem and Constantinople and others, before the Antichrist shows from the Shiites of Iraq and Iran, to stop the reform process for a brief period estimated of about a year and a half. The Prophet announced it as 40 days, but not days like our days. As for the Islamic nation, especially the Unitarians from the people of the book and the people of good wherever they are, Allah has hidden a gift for them which will be the end of musk in this world. It is Isa, the Christ, son of Maryam. The Islamic nation today is going through years of hardship and a plight that will be followed by a grant, God's willing, and will raise them to the level of pure monotheism and the nation of universal charity and leadership among the rest of the nations. Then Isa descends, the healthy body meets with the pure spirit and destroys the greatest sedition history has ever known, that of the Antichrist's Dajjal, temptation, the symbol of deviation, distortion, lying, and impurity. Once the flag of unification raises high throughout the Orient, Gog and Magog come out to avenge their Lord, the Dajjal, and kill Isa, son of Maryam, raise the flag of disbelief and Satan. They would come in huge numbers and enormous potential towards Palestine, and when the Prophet, Isa son of Maryam, got trapped with his companions with the plight intensified, Allah would kill Gog and Magog in one night with a sign and only his ability and strength. The flag of unification will then go through the strongholds of Gog and Magog, spread its influence over all the international institutions. The religion of unification will be in each country and city. Mankind will enjoy many years of security and safety. The earth and humanity will be happy under prophethood and faith prosperity, and will get Almighty's blessings. Then comes the command of the Almighty with the hour, signs, when Al-Daba emerges, speaks to mankind and makes marks on the people's foreheads which will distinguish the believers from the disbelievers, all synchronized with the sunrise from the sunset location and the sealing of all deeds, so that no action would be of benefit to no soul if it didn't believe and did well before. That's when the hour riseth and the trumpet is blown the first time, so all livings die. Then the land changes to another land before the second blowing, that brings the dead alive humbled from the graves to the Levant, the land of resurrection in terrible, horrible and difficult days to all creatures except the believers only, and all meet his Lord with their deeds. Whoever finds good will praise Allah and enter paradise in peace, and whoever finds otherwise will not blame except him. Allah knows best. I ask Allah for forgiveness if I surpassed or missed up something, knowing that it is of me and the devil.